Bobby, good luck! 1, 2, 3. Bobby, good luck!
Hello, this is Ethan McKinley, this is Questionable. We are in fact in Thailand. Please believe us, we were actually in a hut in Thailand. We shot this outside previously, but it was too bloody windy, so here we are doing an indoor, in-studio kind of thing. So you just have to take our word for it. To my left is Andrew DEARNLEY, who is a Muay Thai kickboxer, who is here training in Muay Thai. And he left I guess a life working in Hollywood movies, working alongside George Clooney on Monuments Men, and Doug Liman and Tom Cruise in Edge of Tomorrow. He threw this all away, or put it on hold rather, to come out here and take the warrior's journey training Muay Thai. You know, I guess which is the best place to come and do it, right?
Yeah, Muay Thai. Muay Thai sounds like a cow wearing a tie.
Sorry, Dad.
Yeah, there's the normal mispronunciations of Mai Tai, which is a cocktail, Muay Thai, which is a cow and a tie, but it's Muay.
Muay.
Muay Thai.
Muay Thai. Well, speaking of Thai, the lovely Drew here took me for a Thai massage last night, and I left.
I did not actually massage you.
He didn't.
I
No,
think that should be made clear.
Let's not. Yeah, let's not go there. Well, having said that, I probably would feel less violated if you had actually massaged me.
Right.
What's a Thai massage? Because I left a little bit confused.
Well, a Thai massage tends to be more like yoga style stretching and like manipulation and kind of twisting you up like a pretzel, tying you in knots. What you had last night was an oil massage.
Right. Okay, well, yeah, because the lady is very nice and stuff, and she was quite a little bit rough with me, but she kept fucking kneeling on my balls.
Kneeling on them?
Do they? Because they kind of sit straddling your leg, don't they? Yeah. And she kept.
You got old man balls that are just.
Yeah,
like
I've got leg balls, and she kept fucking like kneeling on my fucking nuts. I was in so I kept twitching, and then she was like, and kept readjusting me and re-straightening me like I was this like naughty school kid.
Yeah, man, you wear those weird Tanga brief underwear as well, don't you? I thought they would have kept it nice and easily manageable.
I didn't go in there with any like clothes though, did I? Apart from my pants, so I kept all my stuff in my pants.
You did what?
I kept my money on my pubic bone,
Jesus
my loose
Christ,
cash.
You're so paranoid.
What? Paranoid of what?
Well, you seem to think that we're in some kind of third world Wild West thievery den. Like you're just picturing a Vietnam War movie and there's like Charlie's out to get you everywhere we go.
Well, come on, we've all seen Platoon. No, I did think that. We will come to that. But, like, no, because I didn't have my wallet on me. I left the cash card here, because you lost your cash card once. So
in Cambodia.
Oh, wow, different.
Yeah, very different.
Well, I grabbed some stuff. I'll grab, like, 1,000 baht. I'll come down. I put my keys and my stuff in my underwear, because I didn't have any options. And, yeah, she was like, she kept, like, when she was doing my feet, she sat on my leg, which hurt my knee. I've got a really bad knee. And I left with a bad back and bad nuts.
Okay, we'll have to go to a different place then and get it all sorted out for you because the massage here in Thailand is amazing and it's incredibly cheap. We had oil massages for 90 minutes that were 300 baht, which is about £6. So it's not bad value, but I understand what you're saying.
Wear a cup.
Wear a cup,
boxes.
or be very conscious of where you put your male genitalia so that they don't have to move it for you. That's what I always find is the weird point. Yeah. You're hot and you're a bit sweaty and they decide to move you from left to right to massage your inner thigh and switch to the other side and move you back.
That was the other thing she did, you just reminded me. She kept, because they put the towel on, you've got your underwear, and they kind of tuck the towel right into your underwear, don't they?
Yes.
And they go really far up.
Yeah.
Into the.
Yeah, but if you're doing Muay Thai, like those groin muscles are what get stressed.
Okay.
And like, it's a really common injury to pull those muscles. So I don't mind it. I've got over it.
Yeah.
Massively over it.
I didn't know what to expect, that's all. So I was just like, oh, what is this? What that kind of massage? Because we went past a place called Happy Massage.
Yeah. I
just thought maybe we could buy a
little. Be grateful you won't get massaged by a dude. I can imagine that would have made you feel even more uncomfortable.
I've been massaged by a dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been to Turkey and had one of those massages when they just beat you with towels, hot towels, and like you get like this man with like a back like a welder, really hairy. Just like
Zengi from Street Fighter.
basically like rubbing you and like squeezing your ass like you're a pizza dough. But yeah, I was a bit perturbed, but you know, I'm alright now. I know what to expect. It'll be fine. It's just when she was like right up there, and when she like kneeled on my balls twice. I think because of the heat and the oil, you kind of like everything kind of gets loose and starts to like I guess hang. And if I'm lying on my front generally, you don't need to know this, listeners or viewers, that I pull my bag forward and put everything behind. We've all done that, so it's like a purse.
Put like a paper clip on the top.
Yeah, so it's all contained. If I go next time, that's how I'm going to do, and not put my
next time
room key. There'll be a next time.
Muppet showing up in the first time with no underwear on anyway.
Who wears underwear?
Well, when I tell you to go, because we're going for a massage, that's when.
Shut up, Martin.
Anyway,
back to the show. Andrew Dearnley here, of course, left his life behind in London to come here and train Muay Thai. Is that right?
Yep.
You'd had how much training had you had in England you just studied Thai boxing, right?
Yeah, I started kind of teaching myself, just punching and kicking a bag, filming myself with my phone. Then I joined a box size class, and then after that I joined a gym with a more kind of fight focused training, and did 6 months of training there, where it was a mixture of kickboxing, Muay Thai, and sparring, depending on the day of the week. And also a swimming pool fitness centre, very like Western leisure centre style.
When you got here, did you have the kind of shock of your life with the training? Was it any different or harder?
The training was much more repetitious. It was everything here is done in hundreds to build muscle memory and for kind of physical conditioning. And I mean that not so much in just building fitness, like aerobic fitness, but conditioning your skin and your bones to be able to kick the heavy bags and without great pain. So we spend a lot of time just kicking heavy bags and bruising your shins, and calcifying the bones, callousing the bones, killing the nerve endings, just so that when you do fight and you do kick someone and you catch them in the shin intentionally, or in the elbow accidentally, or in the top of the knee, that your bones are stronger and can kind of take that, and that you don't kind of screw yourself up with the agony of it.
It's micro-fracturing of the shin, isn't it?
Micro-fractures followed by calcification, so it's this long process. But it results in very thick shin bones, like physically, anatomically thicker than human norms. I mean, we've all seen the, well, maybe you haven't, but the Anderson Silva shin snap when he's fighting in the UFC. So it can still happen even at that very high level. You know, maybe it's the protein supplements he was on that changed his bone density and made him a bit weaker. But the Thai guys out here, you know, they're kicking the hell out of each other on a weekly basis. So their shins are pretty bulletproof. Yeah,
well, I learned the hard way. The first day I got here to film, I guess you doing some of the training in the school, I was like immediately singled out and grabbed because you lent me very kindly your Thai boxing shorts. I had a top knot and Crew B. Crew is master, right? Yeah, that's the designation for master here. B, of course, is the guy that I guess runs Chan Chai, the Muay Thai kickboxing school here, and that's his logo, the B. He grabbed me and immediately started my training with skipping right on the spot, and then I guess shadow boxing alongside him, and then just kicking the bag, and my legs and feet were literally ruined. I've got like 2 dollar-sized scabs on both feet, and my shins are blue. So yeah, the shock of my life. How would it take?
Ass.
Well, I thought I had really good, like, I work out, I'm healthy, I don't drink or smoke, and I thought I had like really good basic health. Or I was in shape, and my God, I wasn't.
There's something very different to kind of gym fit and fight fit. I'm definitely not either at the moment because I've not been training that hard recently. But I felt that difference as well when I arrived. Before coming here, I started running a lot and building up my cardio, but doing it in the north of England, you know, where it's cold and everything's flat, it's very different to kind of the hills and mountain runs you do here in the massive heat and humidity. So yeah, it was a real body shock to kind of start to get the conditioning to be able to train here, and to train for the amount of hours they expect of you. You know, the norm here is 4 hours a day, 8 till 10 in the morning, 3 till 5 in the afternoon. And if you're training to fight, you do more than that, because you do an hour's run in the first thing in the morning, 7 o'clock, breakfast, 2 to 3 hours of training, and then lunch, and then 2 to 3 hours in the afternoon, and then tend to kind of rest, sleep, go for a massage,
well,
and then do it all again the next day.
I was going to say, you said in that time you also have privates and one-on-ones with a lot of the trainers here, don't you?
That's it. When you're fight training, you're really trying to focus on specific skill sets for your height and you know what is working to your advantage. So for me, I'd spend the morning working my kind of kickboxing, my range work, punching, kicking, moving around the ring, And then in the afternoon I'd work more of the clinch and wrestling side of things, which is the kind of physical, dominating a close space when you're tied up, throwing knees, throwing elbows and sweeps and things like that.
Yeah.
So that when you kind of tie up in a fight, yeah, you can still win.
It's the same every day, or is there a day or two of the week when you do something alternate to the actual gym?
Well, Wednesdays and Saturdays is sparring, so that's 2 sessions Wednesday, 2 sessions Saturday. So those days is the days you show up with your mouth guard and bad attitude, ready to fight the other people from the gym. You also do the temple run that morning, so even if you're not fight training, that's a 6k run to the top of a hill with a Buddhist temple, and I think it's 6k back, or it might be 9 in total, I'm not sure. It's long and it's hard, and you go uphill and up steps. It's straight
you're
out of the
underplaying that.
movie.
There's like almost a set of vertical steps that goes like 200 yards up the mountain.
Yeah, definitely straight out of a kung fu movie. That whole kind of Jackie Chan being tortured thing.
With the white Buddha.
That's it. Run for hours, getting chased by a trainer who's on his moped with his cane, whipping you on the back of the legs as you run. Then you get to the bottom of the stairs, run up, touch the Buddha, turn around, and run back.
Yeah, Master B took the cane to me a couple of times when my training was. Let's actually discuss the school. The trainers that work there. I mean, B is obviously the big cheese, right? Who else are the trainers there?
Yeah, B, Crew B, he's head honcho. His brother A, Bammy, Nut, Pet, Gal. There's loads of trainers. One of the main differences between Western and Thai training is the amount of trainers. Here, you get a lot of one-on-one time where the trainer is holding the pads for you, working on technique, working on conditioning, as opposed to back in the West where you'd have one trainer for a group class, and you end up kind of holding pads for each other. And so here, there's a lot more, as I say, one-on-one, a lot more technique being refined. But yeah, plenty of Thai trainers, all ex-fighters of varying degrees. B and A were both Lumpini fighters, so that means that they would travel down to Bangkok and fight in the Premier League of Muay Thai.
Is Lumpini as a grade you reach, or is that the place you
Lumpini
fight?
and Rajadan are 2 stadiums in Bangkok, and
Right.
you have to kind of be invited there by the promoters who organise those events. So you have to be fighting at a very high level to be invited.
Right.
And then if you win, that's where your career and your ranking is massively increased, your earnings are increased, and your fame and fortune is increased.
Damn.
Yeah, fighting on the local circuits, you can make a decent wage and live your life training and fighting, but it's not. That's the equivalent of kind of Division 2 football, or whatever you want to call it. I mean, the guys that are trainers at my gym, like Pet and Turbo, they've been fighting up here in the north of Thailand for a long time, and travelling to Myanmar to go do Lethway, which is bare knuckle, essentially bare knuckle. You tie wet rope around your hands, and
Well, the kickboxer essentially Jean-Claude Van Damme,
exactly
but
that.
for real.
Headbutt's illegal. You're wearing just wet rope rather than gloves, and the guys end up with a lot of soft tissue damage to their face, a lot of scarring, but less concussive damage. It's a different style because you don't want to break the bones in your hands. So it's what you'd imagine is much more kind of going for each other's face and trying to destroy each other. Is actually more of a kind of chess match with kicking.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to get too close because you don't want to break your hands and you don't want to get headbutted.
Yeah, I suppose an outsider or someone who's like listening to this for the first time would perhaps see that as quite brutal. But like you said,
It looks very brutal. Looks very bloody.
It's going to be less as bad as
you see
boxing.
less punch-drunk ties than you do boxers. That 16-ounce glove concussive damage is probably, in my opinion, worst case. So long term.
Or I guess if you were bare knuckle, you're probably likely to get a boxer's fracture if you're hitting too hard or you hit wrong.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. No. Wow. So let's go back to London a little bit. What did you do in London? You worked producing films like big Hollywood movies, right? And you kind of turned your back on all this.
Yeah. Trained for it at university. Moved to London from York. Cracked away at it for 11 years. Started with like British independent television, and then a British independent film, and then into the Hollywood studio pictures, being post-production supervisor, post-production producer, however you want to call it. The job being kind of the talent and finance management of feature film post-production, so everything that happens after the shoot on set. So yeah, cracked away at that. Got to meet some interesting people, work on some big titles, get some good credits. But it became a very sedentary job, very much office-based and very long hours, especially when working for an American company, because you end up working your 9 till 6 London
time
day,
zone, LA.
and then LA's 9 a.m. kicks in at 5 p.m. So you end up doing their day work, and then they give you stuff that they need done for tomorrow, which adds to your workload. And before you know it, 3 or 4 years have gone past. You know, you're living in a tiny flat just because you need to be near your office because you're never away from it. You're on your phone the whole time. There's nothing wrong with it, and I enjoyed doing it. It was just after, like I say, 11 years of doing it. I needed a sabbatical. I needed a break. Do something physical, not mental.
How did the news go down when you told this to your bosses? I guess that.
My colleagues loved it and understood it and supported it. My bosses, I think, were very shocked by the decision to kind of turn my back on it.
Because you just started at one place, hadn't you?
I've been there a year.
Yeah.
And I think they were expecting me to be there a lot longer, and you know, those doors are still open. I'm sure, like they're good people, and you know, I know in their hearts they kind of want the best for me, and this decision was what was best for me at the time.
Well, having said all that, one of your biggest supporters, of course, is Doug Liman, the director of The Bourne Identity and Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah, funnily enough, he was the first person I ever told that I was going to do this.
But you should go for it.
Yeah, he'd always ask me how the kickboxing stuff was going, just because I was a bit of an enigma, I suppose, around the office, because, you know, I look the way I look, you know, 6'4", tattooed, beard, all that, but I'd always wear suits to work. Which,
with a dicky bow.
Yeah, I love a good waistcoat and a pocket watch. I like that kind of biker librarian crossover. So for them to find out that I was training in, you know, combat sports, and then when I told him that I was going to jack it all in and do the Jean-Claude Van Damme and head here to train in the hills of northern Thailand in Pai, he was kind of like, yeah, fuck yeah, you only live once, go do it. You know, obviously he's not as invested in my life as I am, but it was still nice to kind of get the seal of approval from someone that I kind of put on a pedestal.
No, totally. How did the family take it? What did the dad, the brother, sister?
Yeah, they were. My brother and sister were all very supportive, and they've stayed in touch with me whilst I've been away, checking in. My dad obviously thought I was insane. The first gut reaction was, why would you travel to the other side of the planet to learn to punch and kick?
You'll never come back, Drew!
Yeah, well, I kind of understand his concerns. And, you know, we talked it through, and ever since I've been out here, he's been really, really supportive. And, you know, what more can he do other than say, yeah, fine, go make your own mistakes, and there'll always be an open door for you in a bed here when you come back and you can kind of find your feet again.
Yeah.
I think he's really struggled to watch the actual fight, though. Like when I've gone into the ring and fought, I think that bit's made him very uncomfortable, just because he's concerned for my well-being.
How long had you been here before the trainers, like being everyone, and is it Bammy who was your main trainer?
Yeah, Bammy.
Leading up to the fight, when did they decide you were ready to go after 3 months?
Well, they don't really, as a Falang foreigner, they don't really pressure you to fight, unlike the kids here that are Thai and doing it for a living. We pay for our training, so they're happy for us just to train and enjoy it. Where the Thai kids themselves tend to be kind of semi-adopted by the gyms, and so they get pressured into fighting a bit earlier, simply because they need to be kind of earning money, bringing money back into the gym to pay for the fact that they're living at the gym and being fed and clothed by the gym. So for me, I did kind of 6 months of kind of half-assed training around my full-time job whilst in London. Then I was here 3 months by the time one of the trainers, came up to me and said, you know, I've been watching you spar. You're ready to fight if you want to. So I had a conversation with Bammy, my main trainer, Daniel Van Coller from Holland, who lives out here, and he said, yeah, that's cool. You want to fight? Let's do it. He estimated 6 weeks to get me fight fit, so we just knuckled down and did a 6-week training camp where everything kind of upped its intensity, and he gave me a diet plan and stuff like that. Yeah, 6 weeks later, I was in the ring. In Chiang Mai, fighting my first pro fight.
Was the training difficult? And because I mean the heat, you won't know this from looking at us, but I'm glowing.
Sure.
I'm sweating. Like it's so hot here.
Yeah.
How does that translate into training, eating? Because in the heat you don't want to eat.
When you're training that hard, that often, you do want to eat.
You must be shedding water weight like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, it's difficult to stay hydrated, and you end up taking a lot of like what they call electrolytes, things like that, trying to replenish your body. But muscle fatigue and overtraining is a massive issue here, especially when you're 32 like I am. You know, I was following the Thai way of doing it. You know, just hard repetition every day. No sports science, no vitamins and minerals, no kind of clever approach, hyperbaric chambers, altitude training, none of that. Just fucking grind and repeat. So that's not the best thing for a 93 kilo, 6'4" Westerner at 32.
There's no biohack, is there?
Yeah, exactly. The American approach would have made way more sense for me. And when I go back, I'll definitely try and merge the two. But you learn a lot of mental strength through doing that grind. And I must admit, like, one of the reasons why I took the fight and and was willing to kind of just get it done was because I was so sick of training. I was so exhausted with the repetition and just being so isolated and dedicated that I took a fight just before my visa was running out and I had to leave the country. So I took it, got it over with, went off to Cambodia, came back.
Is that English or American dedication or Thai dedication? Because the trainers here, however rock hard they are,
Yeah.
like the national champions, some of which actually like B, right?
Yep.
All these accomplished Muay Thai fighters, they all like drink and smoke and do whatever they like and they party hard.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem to affect them. So
yeah, exactly. Like I say, they have a very different approach to nutrition and training. They're just tough dudes, and they've got so much ring experience, and they're so used to being in that environment that it's just become part of their life. You know, it's not training camp for 12 weeks or 6 months for a big fight on pay-per-view. It's living your life and fighting very often. You know, once every 2 or 3 weeks. You know, once a week if you're kind of doing it as a local kind of fighter for a stadium. So.
Well, leading up to the big fight, how does one, if you're a Thai, I guess, promoter, how do you find someone that's as big as you, weight and height-wise? You're 6'4", right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're 90 something.
93.
Yeah. How do they
93
match someone
kilos.
like that with you? A Westerner?
They struggle. I always, on the approach to my fight, I was convinced I was going to be fighting another Falang.
Falang is
Foreigner.
Foreigner.
Yeah, I was convinced I'd be fighting someone else like that. But you know, I put myself in for the fight. I went down. I met the promoter. He looked me up and down, and then off I went. And I didn't find out who I was fighting until 20 minutes before I got in the ring.
What?
So I was getting oiled up, hand wraps on, stretching, literally, you know, watching my teammates fight. When someone then eventually pointed out who the guy was I was going to be fighting.
So you didn't find out who you were fighting until you got to the stadium for your professional fight?
Well, I'd been at the stadium for hours by that point.
Oh my god.
I got there around, 7 o'clock, and I fought around 10 o'clock. So yeah, I'd been there probably 2.5 hours by the time someone said, that's the guy. And I looked over and it was a Thai guy. I asked a little bit about him and they were like, yeah, he's good. He's had 140 fights. He likes to fight big foreigners because he likes to head kick them. I stupidly said, oh, well, he won't be able to reach me, I'm too tall. Kicked me in the head a lot, but didn't knock me out, and I knocked him down twice in round 2 and knocked him out in round 3.
Wow, well done.
Thanks. I mean, he's a slightly older Thai guy. He had been a local champion around the Northern Circuit, but I think given the fact he was 86 kilos when he was fighting me, I suspect he's at the tail end of his career, not training as hard as he used to, and had put on weight.
You've still got your bell rang though when he was laying punches and kicks on you though, right?
Absolutely. When you've got a guy who's been training since he's 8 years old, you know, and God knows how old he was when he fought me, but I'd guess kind of mid-20s.
Yeah.
If he's trying to kick you and knock you out because he wants to be the hometown hero,
he will.
For those first 2 rounds, he's an absolute killer.
Yeah.
It's just when he gets tired that then you can start to impose your game plan. But for me, you know, went in there, got kicked in the head a few times, realised it wasn't sparring, realised I was allowed to hit him as hard as I could, which is a weird epiphany to have.
Were you nervous leading up to that point? When does it become real for you?
Not consciously nervous, more subconsciously, and had psychosomatic illnesses that came about. So I never really was afraid of the fight. Having trained for it so much, that was very normal to me. You know, hard sparring with big 110 kilo Westerners, 4 times a week, had taken that element away. The stuff that concerned me was the ceremonial aspect, like the Y crew, the dancing, the approach to the ring.
Is that this?
That's a part of it.
Can I touch it?
No.
You can touch it. Get it down so they can see.
Okay.
You wear this on your head, right?
Yeah, this is the moncon that you wear as part of your ceremonial headdresses when you approach the ring, and seal the ring, do the Y crew dance.
Were you coached in this as part of your training leading up to the fight?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't.
Was there any prayer or anything incorporated before the fight? Because you had some help from, obviously, was it an American chick?
Yeah. The fight didn't make me nervous, but the ceremonial stuff did.
Right.
I didn't really know much about it, and because I'd taken the fight on 6 weeks' notice, we hadn't really focused much on that. We hadn't done a dress rehearsal. So Bambi was just kind of telling me as I approached the ring, right, go to the ring, bow, do this, right, and then when I'd come back to the corner and be like, right, next bit is this. And so it was all very new to me, and that made me very nervous. So I was actually very relieved once we kind of touched gloves, took the moncon off, put the mouth guard in, and we're ready to fight. That stuff I could handle. But yeah, shout out to Sylvie of the blog 8 Limbs US, who was fighting on the same card as me. who took the time to try and kind of calm me down and explain some of that stuff, just so it wasn't such a mystery as I approached the ring. Because I just couldn't get my head round, couldn't get my head out of that side of it, of just the stupidest stuff, just worried about tripping over the top rope when I climbed into the ring, things like that.
Yeah.
I was trying to talk my coaches into letting me like climb into between the ropes, because I didn't want to like put my leg over the top and fall on my head.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, you have to go over the top rope, it's a sign of masculinity, you're not supposed to let anything go above your head.
Whoa,
You know,
okay.
so things like that.
Damn. The Sylvie chick, was she a professional fighter or just someone helping out for the day, or?
Sylvie is a Muay Thai enthusiast from New York who moved to Thailand a couple of years ago and has since had over 100 pro fights. She used to live in Chiang Mai, which is near here, 134 kilometres,
Yeah.
nearest big town to here.
3-hour bus ride.
Yeah, 3.5, yeah. And now she's living down south, I think in Phuket. But she was one of the big reasons why I came to the north of Thailand. When I was looking for this kind of escape, and I found her blog, and all of the information on there was so useful and answered all my questions and made it just seem possible to do, that it was great to meet her on the night of the fight and fight on the same card as her.
Wow. Well, that was the genesis of your blog, which is Bruce Shin, isn't it, on Twitter and Bruce Shin Blogspot, so check that out, everyone. You started this as a travelogue, or just a way of keeping a diary, or what was the reason behind just doing the blog? Just to follow in Sylvie's footsteps in a sense?
I suppose, yeah. I mean, at first I started writing it just to kind of put down my thoughts as to why I was going to leave London, for my own benefit, so that I could go back to it and reread it, and also to kind of organise my own thoughts. Eventually, as I added to it and it got bigger, I then decided to kind of publish it and put it out onto the Bruce Shin blog, so that other people could find it. But then I never made any effort to publicise it because it just felt too thin.
Yeah.
So I just carried on adding to it with my thought process, with other stuff, with my training, with my injury treatments and things like that. And eventually, when I did kind of take the plunge and quit the job and bought the flights to Thailand, I then kind of made it a bit more open to people to find. And I think since then, because I just keep very rarely tapping in a little information into it, it's become quite a nice little resource for people. Much like 8 Limbs US with Sylvie, or Under the Ropes with Emma down in Bangkok. I'm doing it here in the remote hills of northern Thailand in Pai. And I think, or I know now that it's a little bit useful to people, because there are people who've come and joined Chan Chai Muay Thai and trained with me who...
Well, the girl in the next bungalow, isn't it? Basically, we're in like these bamboo bungalows, and the girl next to us revealed that she's here literally because of you. And I think you revealed to me a few days ago, you're like, I wasn't sure if the blog would work, but there are many people here who have been here in your time, have gone, hey, look at that t-shirt, I follow that blog.
Yeah, I know that logo.
You're the dude.
Yeah, you're the dude. And I'm like, yeah, I am the dude. And I think they find the blog a lot of the time when they're looking for like visa information and things like that, and what to do in northern Thailand, and then it comes up and they show up at Chan Chai, and then I
think it's a valuable resource, even if you're not doing Muay Thai, because there are different camps here in Pai, which, like you said, you fly to Bangkok, and then you get like maybe an hour and 20-minute flight to Chiang Mai, and then you get this 3-hour bus literally through the mountains, because I guess we're like geographically isolated. If anywhere you look, there's mountains, almost like we're in a dormant volcano, but we're not. And
yeah, like you say, fly Heathrow to Bangkok, you can get an overnight train or bus or fly to Chiang Mai, and then from there a minibus for 3.5 hours, 134 kilometres into the hills, across winding roads, and you find yourself in Pai, secluded little town in the middle of, surrounded on all sides by mountains, very isolated, very cool little hippie place. Nice expat community here, and a great place to train without the distractions of a big city, without the smog and all the other crap that comes with big cities.
Well, you've got, I guess, the circus folk, the circus schools here, right? There's the hippies, of course, and there's the Thai boxers. But beyond that, there's a lot of monasteries and monks I see like floating around. And you stay at a monastery, right?
Yeah. Between here and Mae Hong Son, which is where local immigration offices on the border with Myanmar, there is the Tom Mua Forest Monastery, which is a monastery that's open to Falang to go stay and take part in a Vispasa, I can't remember how it's pronounced, meditation retreat. So the idea is you go there, you stay in a dorm, you wear white, you leave all your electronics alone, and you detach yourself from the world.
Whoa. And
you follow their lifestyle, and you learn directly from the monks about meditation. So for me, it was rock up there, drop my stuff, put on their white robes, join the cult, and
really like Gandalf.
yeah, it was very
Gandalf.
Manson-esque actually. It was very awkward at first to kind of get used to. I'm not really sure I ever got over that. Also, just the sinister nature of it, like people being more more aware than you are. You know, I'm better at meditating than you are. Let me help you.
The hippie thing.
It's like anything. You know, whether it be Muay Thai, meditation, skateboarding.
There's always someone who's better at
There's
you
always
and stuff, or
there's
claims
always
to be.
a clique. You know, the cool kids who can sit longest, meditate deepest, whatever. But yeah, it was an interesting time. One of the reasons why I did it is because there's almost a national service element to Thai culture where you go and live as a monk.
So it's not something you've thought to do before you came here. You got here and then thought, oh, I can incorporate that.
I was
and that's part of
aware.
my trip.
I was aware of it before I came here, but I wasn't sure I was going to do it. And meeting B and finding out that he was a monk and seeing some of the other trainers go off to the monastery and things like that did make me want to kind of.
Yeah, because some have left to be monks and some are former monks that are
Yeah,
trained
B and A were
fighters.
both monks. Muhin, one of our trainers, has left to go join the monastery.
B and A, they're the guys that run the gym.
Yeah,
Right?
Crew B runs the gym. A is his brother. They were both top level fighters and in their younger years, both monks. And great guys. I think the Buddhism and religious side of their lives is still very prevalent and is of huge benefit to them. Very spiritual people. Very like great karma. You know, very community conscious people.
What did you leave the monastery with, and how did it incorporate back into the Muay Thai?
A bad back from sitting. Hungry from fasting.
What's the daily routine now, as an individual? What did you have to do and eat and stuff?
Up at 5, meditate for an hour, offer food to the monks at 6, breakfast at 6:30, meditate for an hour at 7. Your own time for a little bit, offer the monks lunch at 11, meditate again at 1 for an hour.
Right.
So it was an hour or 2 hours, I can't remember. And then the afternoon, cleaning, chores, doing the grounds, cooking the food. And then night chanting meditation at 6 o'clock for an hour. And then, if I'd saying an hour, you know what, having been there, once you get into that state, it's strange, you kind of lose track of time. May well have been 2 hours. But you kind of go through the motions of walking, sitting and laying down meditation, and then in the evening the chanting meditation, which is almost like hymn singing, to get you into this kind of meditative state, you know. And then in the evening, lights out by 10 o'clock, so off you go to bed, repeat it all the next day. So just eating twice, 2 vegan meals, 1 at 7 for breakfast, 1 at 11
Was
lunch.
that bad for the energy, because you're obviously a big tall guy?
Yeah, it was weird to get used to,
Like
but
keeping awake
because
in
you're
the day
doing
and
so
stuff?
little physically, other than a little bit of sweeping or cooking, it wasn't bad at all.
Okay.
I'm sure a lot of people can go there and lose weight if they've got a very meat or sugar rich diet. Yeah, for me it was not ideal.
A good detox in a sense.
Yeah, probably from alcohol and whatnot.
Well, the other things the fighters do, which again to an outsider might sound quite brutal and cruel, there's a lot of cockfighting that goes on, but it's not kind of. I always imagine when I spoke to you about it, cockfighting was that they put like these hooks on the chicken's legs
Yeah.
and stuff like that, but it's not like that at all, is it? It's a little bit like well, it mimics the Thai boxing in some ways, doesn't it?
Absolutely. The gym, Chan Shai Muay Thai, the gym also has fighting chickens that they raise and look after, and the similarities between the Muay Thai fighters, especially the kids and the chickens, is so obvious. I mean, when you sit there and watch it, you know, and this is obviously going to offend people who are animal rights activists, but I must say the animals are so well looked after, and that's true of the fighting chickens or the pet dogs or whatever else it might be.
Well, there's these packs of dogs that wander around, but they're all right, super friendly. And I spoke to you and went, God, these poor dogs that just wander the streets. But you're like, well, they better have a better life than a domesticated dog, because everyone kind of takes care of them. They wander past a store or a gym.
It's more like a community dog.
Yeah.
You know, they have their little territories and they have their packs. You know, and I think a dog's happiest when it has his pack.
Yeah.
So they've got that
But they're
community,
around
plus
people
they're
all the
well
time.
fed, and
Yeah.
and there's some
Passers by, give them food.
yeah, and they're
stuff.
not trapped in a small flat somewhere looking out the window wishing they could run free. They're probably baking hot, sat in the sun, but they're chasing cats, chasing rats, keeping the snakes away. It's all good. But yeah, just to finish off on the fighting chicken side of things,
Well, they're not hooked up, are they? But I always thought no.
they're trained for it as well, which is something I never really realised. But they're bred like racehorses to create the kind of big strong chickens, and then they're brought to places. They're bought and traded and sent around the country as the gyms buy them or the people buy them.
How are they
And then
trained?
they're
Trained.
Trained. Well, they spar, so they put little like pads on their hooks, their talons,
They can't hurt
so that
each
they
other.
can practice fight, which obviously is scary for the animal, but it's scary for the kids and for me as well. And then they're also like put into the really deep cylinders, so that when they try and jump out, it strengthens their legs. And they're washed with special kind of oils and soaps to strengthen their feathers, and they're fed vitamins and mineral supplements to kind of strengthen them, so that they.
And the goal is to win, but not have the cock or the chicken die, right?
Yeah, they don't. It's not to the
death.
death. It's a fight that can take like up to an hour, and it's
like winning on
points
points.
based.
Yeah.
So it's just a lot of gambling, basically. Same with the Muay Thai. The gambling is like the biggest thing, almost the most important element of both sports.
Well, there's poker after training, isn't there? Sometimes you want to stick around.
Gambling is illegal in Thailand.
Well, I didn't say they were like gambling money, but they're playing cards down there.
Yeah, gambling's illegal in Thailand. The only thing that they kind of turn a social blind eye to is the gambling on Muay Thai. Hence, it can exist in such big stadiums in Bangkok without anyone stopping it.
Well, at your fight, you said people were gambling on you, and you were being treated in a very bizarre way, right?
Yeah, like a racehorse. Thais would come up to me and squeeze my arms and my legs. So I'd be stood talking to someone, and from behind I could just feel someone come over and grab me, and they're feeling your muscles, like seeing if they want to put money on you. You know, and after I fought and won, some of the Thais came up to me and like we're all super happy because they'd won money on me. And
you had some English lads come over as well, sloshing beer up you and
an English guy and a Welsh guy and some English couples. They were so loud when I was fighting, almost distracting. I could hear them just shouting this kind of weird, go on England kind of stuff, which made it feel like a football hooligan. But they came up to me after the fight.
You're the White Warrior.
Yeah, not to go. But yeah, it was all very nice. It was just a bit uncomfortable because they're drunk, I'm sober. I've got my hands being ungloved and untaped by two trainers, and a third trainer pulling my shorts down to take the steel groin cup off. So I'm stood there in a crucifix position with my shorts around my knees, and I've got guys taking photos with me, putting their arms around me, telling me I'm a rock star, congratulating me, other people wanting to pose for photos. And at the time, like, the adrenaline's going, and you can't really focus on anything, and yeah, you're just there in your underpants. It's weird. I didn't really like being the centre of attention, if I'm honest. You know, not for me. Have
they been trying to get you into another fight, like B, the main, the guy that runs the gym and stuff in A?
Yeah. By getting into the kind of fight fit and by winning, they definitely want you to fight again. But it's also just the pressure.
Did they bet on you?
I wouldn't know.
No, they wouldn't say.
They earn money off putting us in the ring, so whether they bet on me or not, I don't know.
Now, do you get more money if you win or if you lose? Or?
No, it's same. You get paid, and that's true of anyone who fights. Actually, with the exception of like some of the big stadium fights, I think like the King's Birthday, then it changes. But on these like the smaller local fights, you get paid the same win or lose. So there isn't really the same incentive to die in the ring, come out on your shield kind of thing. So it doesn't really have that same Western attitude to like go out there and try and kill the other guy. The actual Thais, when they fight, it seems to break down into a much more calm rhythm, where you have the first round and second round kind of feeling each other out, whilst the gamblers watch and kind of decide on odds and bet. So those first two rounds are almost kind of feeling what the other person's strong suit and seeing how they react to certain stimulus, to allow the gamblers chance to judge you both and decide what they want to bet on. In rounds 3 and 4 you go at it like crazy, they try and knock each other's heads off, and then by round 5 a lot of the time the fight is kind of, it's been decided in the judge's mind who's won, and a lot of time you'll see a fighter concede almost by a gesture in the ring because they don't want to get injured, they don't want to get cut, because they don't want to have to take time out from fighting whilst a cut heals, or they don't want to have to go to hospital to pay money out of their winnings for medical treatment.
Do the bets cut off when this fight starts? Can you still keep betting on this?
Still keep betting.
So you're fighting, and it's like the stock market, everyone's like changing money as they go. And
huge amounts of gestures, and at the side of the ring you'll have gamblers come up to you during the round breaks trying to give you advice in Thai. So they're screaming at you something and then gesturing knees or something, and you're supposed to take that on board above what your trainer's telling you. It's very bizarre. And because a lot of time they're drinking, they'll just be shoving your trainers out of the way, climbing on the side of the ring. It can be a real zoo. You know, they're kept at the bigger stadiums. They're kept further back, but they're like local fairs. You know, where it's like a summer fete kind of feel. The drunk guys go fucking crazy. It's nuts to see. last fight I was at in Wuhan, there was this old Muay Thai fighter who no longer fought. He kept getting in the ring with a cape on and walking around like he was Superman, challenging people to fights. You know, blind drunk. This guy must have weighed probably 55 kilos, and he's challenging me to fight him. You know, not in an aggro way, and that's the weird thing. In a nice way, like, let's share this experience. Come on, get in the ring with me. Let's fight. You know, like,
Are there
crazy.
any kind of like wacky matchups? Because I mean, is it China or Japan? You get like Bob Sapp versus a sumo wrestler. You have these like, or like Butterball versus Butterbean. Sorry, that's Butterball's from freaking Hellraiser. Forget that.
Yeah.
Sorry, Butterbean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you ever have that kind of like
versus,
cartoon
Genghis
superhero matchup that you have here? Is it
You
different?
don't. Fights are scaled on weight, much like any professional fight. Well, taking out the exhibition fights that Japan and Pride and things like that were famous for. So no, the closest you'll get to weird matchups like that is when people can't find a valid opponent and they just kind of make it work. Hence me at 93 kilos fighting someone at 86. You know, and I've seen that across all weight classes, especially when the women fight, because there are a lot less women fighters. Sometimes their weight classes are a little bit of a mismatch as well. But I would always say that a mismatch for weight is often countered with experience.
Yeah.
So the smaller person will have had more fights. So it can look worse than it is, because nerves and performance anxiety is such a huge thing to deal with. You know, I'd rather be the smaller guy with more experience, if I'm honest, having been the bigger guy with less.
So before we wrap up, is there anything else you want to like give anyone shout outs, or have we overlooked anyone at the gym that needs a mention, or anyone on your trip? Because you've been here for 9 months now, 8 months?
Yeah. Well, we haven't really talked about the trainers.
Yeah.
And the social life around Pi.
Kong Muin Tree, Bami, who was your main trainer, who got you fight fit and ready for the
Yeah, national champion from Holland. He moved out here to live with his girlfriend Roseanne, who started fighting here recently. Yeah, great people. And
is Pang as well? She's going to be fighting soon, right?
Pang's been fighting a lot. Yeah, she's one of the Thai female fighters at the gym.
There's a girl here. She's rock hard. Like, you would not mess with her.
Yeah, there's a lot of that, and a lot of people that come through who are like that. But it's the guys who work at the gym who make it what it is, make it the Chanchai family rather than a gym. You know, when you come out here for as long as I have on your own, not knowing anyone, the gym environment is so integral to kind of how you enjoy your time here. And the Thai trainers have been absolutely amazing, both as trainers and as kind of people to be social with, even though the language barrier is so obvious.
Well, you said the charades thing, isn't it?
Yeah, two of my best friends here in Pi are Pet and Gao, two of the trainers. Pet's, my age, he's like 33, was a bare knuckle fighter in Myanmar, speaks like 4 words in English, but we have a great time going out drinking and partying. He's very kind, he was the one that bought me this necklace. He
took us karaoke in, didn't he, last Saturday?
Yeah, again, everything's done in charades and gesture because there's no language, but it's awesome. And
they're doing all these like bizarre songs that we hadn't heard of, and all the videos, I guess, because you can't use a licensed music video for the song you're singing. They look like human trafficking videos, don't they?
I think that's true of karaoke worldwide. It's definitely not
I need to
part
see
of
a
my
learning
culture.
karaoke bar now to see what the actual
terrifying
videos they make up for those songs.
What's funny as well is watching the Thai guys go absolutely love it and close their eyes and just start banging out the songs, and you can't say anything because they'll kick you. They can kick your ass. You know, this like 50 kilo, 5'3" dude could totally kick my ass, and so I just have to sit there and put up with him doing like a Thai cover of a Madonna song for 3 minutes. It's freaking agony, but it's hilarious at the same time.
Well, you didn't say it when I was smashing out Bon Jovi. That was pretty bad as well.
Like a bag of cats drowning.
Yeah.
But and then another one of my favourite trainers, Gao. He's only like 19 years old. When I first got here, he could barely speak any English. Now he's one of the most proficient English speakers at the gym. Whoa. He's awesome, such an arrogant little shit. He's always
you need that to fight, right?
Yeah. I mean, he still trains and fights regularly, and is just an 18-year-old lad. He's so funny to get to know, and he's there like flirting and bullying the dudes and pimping up and dancing around the clubs and everything. It's been a wild ride, and I think those guys are the thing I'll miss the most when I leave. Simply because Facebook and things like that means you can keep in touch with a lot of people and what's going on at the gym, but that close proximity of no language, just charades, just gesture, just generosity.
Well, we had that kind of conversation with Nuts yesterday, didn't we? Yeah. All like super smiley, and then he saw me on my moped going through town. He's like, "Hey, Ethan!"
yeah, and there's nothing to say.
Yeah,
you can't. All you've got to do is kind of gesture and be like, what time is that?
You're you and me. Bye.
Exactly. Just happy to see people. It's land of 1,000 smiles. Gotta love Thailand for that.
I suppose the most difficult leg of your journey here, if you will, is probably babysitting me for the last 10 fucking days. How's that been, Drew? Should we start with the day I got here? I needed an itinerary of what to do and how to get to Pi.
If you really want to.
Your instruction just like come to Pi.
hatred.
And I was like, well, you've been here. Give me a list of like stuff.
Just to give your listeners an idea, though, I bought a one-way ticket here, having never been here, having not knowing anyone, and I just figured it out. I put my rucksack on in York, and I set off, and I got to Pai a couple of days later, and I found somewhere to stay. I found a gym, and I made a life. You, I had to give you a blow-by-blow account of how long everything took, how much it cost, how you get from X bus station to X guest house, and then you get here and
if you've got a man on the inside, I say use the information.
Oh, you leave your motorbike keys in with the headlights on and
battery ran out, and also
show for a massage with no underwear on.
We might have the same karma though.
You leave cat food on my mattress.
The beads.
Yeah, at least karma's kicking your ass for that.
Yeah, I bought these beads like maybe a week ago, and it was like 2,500 baht, and I was like, £2.50, cool, that's cheap. That is cheap in Thailand. I brought them back to Drew, and he's like, how much were they? They're nice. So I was like, oh, okay, thanks. They were 2,500 baht, which is what, 45 quid?
45 quid.
Yeah, so half the production budget was gone in a day, but we're told they're blessed.
Well, that's it. Me and all the other flan were just like, what? You spent basically like a month's rent on some beads. You're fucking crazy.
We're expecting a caning from B, the main.
We dobbed him into crew B in the hope that he'd carry on the mocking, or maybe even whip you with the cane a little bit. But instead, B, having been a monk and putting a lot of value into the kind of spiritual side of things and the more. Yeah, he was like, oh, that's fine.
Props and B.
You can spend anything up to 10,000 baht on a blessed prayer beads.
And the money hopefully or allegedly goes to the monasteries to help the monks. So
I would like to think so. I think you'd like to think so too.
We got them from a shop.
Whether it's true or not, who knows?
But you'd assume they bought them from a monastery.
You'd hope.
Yeah.
Or at least had them blessed and paid for that privilege in some way. Possibly not as much as you've paid, but we'll see.
Well, I was expecting when I got here, we should say Pai, not only is it very beautiful, it's like a mix of Jurassic Park and every Vietnam War film you've ever seen. Even though we're not in Vietnam.
We're not in Vietnam, no. But at the pub last night they did play the Vietnam soundtrack, so we were
it's like the Forrest Gump
treated to Painted Black by Rolling Stones, to which you were grinning like a fool after having constantly referred to this place as, what was it, a restaurant called Charlie and Lex, and you're like, you can't call him Charlie. It's like, one, we're in Thailand, two, his name is Charlie. Like, just get with the program, man.
Well, I thought, because you see in film or travelogue shows that Bangkok is such a crazy place. You've got like ladyboys and prostitution's legal, and I'm sure there's gambling even though it's illegal, and there's all these crazy wild things you can do. You've got the islands from like the beach or the book, the beach obviously. So I thought this would be like this crazy ass rock and roll, off the charts, nothing is safe or trusted.
Sorry to disappoint.
Yeah, it's almost like crime that doesn't really exist here in a sense, is it? Because I was like, do I need to take my wallet with me or keep it here or leave a bike?
Didn't mention that to the listeners either.
Yeah.
Your paranoia about getting your laptop stolen.
We're from London, come on.
You asked me like 4 times via email, is it alright if I bring my laptop? Is it going to be safe? To which I'm replying to you via my laptop like, yeah, it's I really didn't know what you expected. Like, you've clearly watched, Only God Forgives way too many times. You're expecting Ryan Gosling to come in and cut your arms off and steal your laptop. But the reality is Pai is a beautiful, quiet, remote little village where materialism is not a big thing. There isn't the same greed and kind of
the Western
city attitude.
Yeah,
which I think is probably creeping into places like Bangkok and the islands down south. Especially what I hear from people who train down south and head up here, that the kind of steroid culture and the kind of macho nonsense that happens down there with the clubbing, drinking, prostitution, steroid, all that stuff is way more prevalent in the south and in the islands than it is up here, because it's just non-existent.
Yeah, where you got sex tourism, but you also got steroid tourism. You told me where you come down.
Yeah,
to, like,
a lot of
up.
people from Russia and Australia and places like that come over, buy the steroids because they're legal, do a 12-week program, put on loads of muscle and go home, feeling very proud of themselves. Which, again, I'm not mocking, it's just a lifestyle choice. It's not one for me, but it's all good. Like, we all set ourselves goals and things to achieve. If that's theirs, then cool, I'm glad that they achieved it.
Oh, awesome. Well, I think we can wrap up before we actually die of heat stroke, unless you want to check everything before we leave.
Just to remind people, this is the 3rd time we've done this podcast. Because camera failure and then wind noise. So this is the 3rd time we've sat here and talked it through.
And thank you for your patience.
Yeah.
And we kept it fresh. You were great. You got better consistently every time we've done one.
Okay, thanks.
I bought 2 basically brand new GoPro Hero 4s to shoot this on, and they just all have broken. We're now shooting this on Drew's GoPro Hero 3 Plus, which is working like a charm.
See, professional film post producer. watching him trying to work with this equipment has made me want to pull my hair out. It's been agony.
Why don't we stay another month?
Oh,
I'll get fighting fit and we'll go in the ring together.
Yeah, you know what? That would be worth sticking around
You'd
for.
stick around for that, right?
I would. Let's just reconvene in London. You know, I'll find us a place.
Just
and we
break
can
out
thrash
a
it
bar
out.
stool over my back when we get back.
Yeah.
And you see
You know
me in
what? I
town.
would, but then you'd reference Vietnam War film or a Wild West film too much, and I'd have to do it again. But yeah, just to the listeners, obviously this is the third time, so if we've missed anything or if you have any questions, if there's anything that we haven't covered, because we probably covered it in a previous conversation, it might slip through the net this time, check in on the blog, my blog, bruceshin.blogspot.com.
And Twitter?
Yeah, same thing, Bruce Shin or Headspan on Instagram. And you can just drop me a message with any questions or have a route through the blog posts covering everything from tattoos out here, health and safety, injury treatment, the monastery, the training, the costs, the visas, anything like that. So feel free to get in touch. Happy to share my information. Also, check Sylvie's blog, 8 Limbs US, and Emma's blog, Under the Ropes. On the 8 Limbs US blog, there's a forum which is a live discussion about all of the issues that we've talked about, also covering a lot of gender-related issues, such as being a female fighter in Thailand, and relationships with trainers and whatnot. It's a very different experience, I think, for women out here, and it's a very different culture with their relationship with women. So it's something I can't be a part of, but check in with Sylvie. There's some really interesting articles, and
We'll
she's a
point
great
you in the
writer.
right direction, basically. If you are listening on iTunes, go to the YouTube channel, Ethan McKinley, on YouTube, and below this video, if you look in the annotations, there'll be links to all the things Drew has just mentioned. Sylvie, Emma, right?
Yeah.
Bruce Shin Blogspot and Bruce Shin on Twitter. You can find me and the show at ethanmckinley.com. If you're actually on the YouTube channel, I guess you found the show. If you've done that, please subscribe, press the red button. And also, this trip hasn't been cheap, even though I'm supporting hopefully the local culture. Please donate if you want. It's only $1. It's pocket change stuff you'd lose down the back of the couch or the sofa. Send me $1. It will certainly help financing trips like this.
Yeah, and can I just say a quick thank you?
Yes, please.
Thank you to Ethan for coming out and travelling all the way.
Thanks to Drew for doing this for 3 times.
Yeah, you're welcome, kind of. And a big thank you to my friends and family who supported me doing this. So big shout out to my dad, my brother, my sister, Nick Chung, Nicola, just for kind of being a huge help and staying in touch whilst I've been away. It's meant a lot, especially when I've been miserable as hell training as hard as I was, and being so isolated from other kind of social avenues. It's been it's been noticed and appreciated. Thank you very much.
And thank you, of course, to Chan Shai at the gym. Thank you to B, A, PA, QB, Bammy, Drew's main trainer.
Yeah, big shout out to Bammy. Thank you for helping me survive this.
Pet, the other guys are missing. Who am I missing?
Pet, Gal, Turbo, Yo, A, B, Pinar, Peanut, Tay, Carrie Ann, Liam,
I'd like to thank the Academy.
Mark. The list goes on and on and on. But yeah, especially big thanks to all of the Thai side of things here, because I'm going to miss them like mad when I do leave.
Yeah, and even if you're not a Thai boxer, if you are just travelling here, if you fancy being trained in circus or just being a hippie and taking loads of magic mushrooms, please contact either me or Drew at the annotations below the YouTube video. You can find me at ethanmckinley.com. You can listen to this podcast on iTunes, and you can find my new podcast, which is 2 Minute Terminator, where I analyse the Terminator films 2 minutes at a time. Sounds weird, but it's actually quite funny. So I'm told by Drew, and hopefully we can get a couple of episodes squeezed out of him, and which will only be one recording, I hope, before we leave. So yeah, thank you everyone for listening. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, follow Drew, BruceShin.blogspot.com. and Bruce Shin on Twitter, and I'm Ethan McKinley.
Do check it out, because I'm just going to write a post now about how much I hate this prick for making me do this 3 times.
And we hate Drew too.
Yeah.
So, see you next time, listeners. Bye!